Welcome to Beyond Six Figures, the podcast that helps business coaches to micro-niche, get noticed, and become fully booked. Learn from top industry leaders who've successfully taken their businesses and their lives beyond six figures. Get ready to level up your coaching business and make this world a better place, one business at a time. And now, here's your host, Ziv Raviv.
Hello and welcome to Beyond Six Figures. Today with us is Christopher Salem. Christopher is an accomplished CEO, business executive coach, and world-class speaker. He's a corporate trainer. He's an award-winning author. He's been called the quintessential business coach's coach by peers for his success in mentoring other coaches. His best-selling book, Master Your Inner Critic, Resolve the Root Cause, Create Prosperity, is a masterpiece that helps you ask the right questions, set up the right mindset, and actually overcome the inner critic. I love this idea of understanding your inner voices, and the inner critic is one really devastating voice that many of us have inside us. You also coach people through the Prospreneur training and other systems and the offering that you have, and you're a radio show host with two different shows. So it's really an awesome experience an opportunity to have you here. Hello, Christopher Salem.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for finding the time. So first, I want to ask you, just if you had to define yourself in 1 to 3 words, what actually is your gift to this world? What are you, Christopher Salem?
Well, that's a great question. I would say if it's in 3 words, it's disciplined, consistency, and transparent. So what that means is that I do things even though maybe I don't want to do them, but I know they serve me. And by doing that, not only does it fill my cup, but it helps me to be the example for others. And the consistency is what executes on that to make it happen, also being an example for others. And the transparency is just being honest and straightforward with people. And that's what's always gone over very well with people, especially the people I work with.
I love how you start with your values. And that's like something that really is key. It's like the fact that if you know who you are, you can actually reach your goals more efficiently. You have this mindset already from the get-go. Would you say that what are you more of? Like, are you more an author? Are you more a coach? Are you more a trainer? What would you define yourself as if you had to narrow it down?
Yeah, they are all a blend of everything that I do. I mean, as an example of everything that I help people with, I do that for myself. That's reflected whether if I'm speaking on stages around the world, whether if I'm on a podcast, radio show, writing a book, training a group of professionals or a company. But I would view myself more as a coach, like in this case, a strategist, a mentor, somebody that has that one-on-one relationship with each person at a time, helping them in their unique situation in a personalized, tailored approach to help them reach their objectives.
Love it. So as a fellow coach, let's talk about some of your ideas regarding the root cause. What is that all about? Why is that so important to understand?
Well, the thing is, we live in a society or a world where we pretty much manage symptoms. We manage problems. We don't actually get to the root cause to solve them. So just like if you have cancer, yes, you can remove a tumor out of somebody's body, but if you don't get it at the root level, guess what? The cancer comes back and we're just managing the problem. So I've come through my experience to understand that every opportunity that has led to a result came from the ashes of a challenge. But if I didn't get to the root cause of the challenge, well, guess what? Then I was not ever going to achieve the results that I set out to have. So for me, it's getting to the root cause of any challenge, taking care of it, and then turning it into an opportunity, then from an opportunity into a result. So for me, it's about solving the challenge, creating the opportunity, and then executing to get the result. So for me, it's not about managing symptoms or managing problems. It's about solving them and then creating opportunities that lead to results.
In other words, when you are working with a client as a coach, you ask them questions, you help them reveal, like peel off the onion, peel off layers until they get to a point where you can identify the root cause. Can you give me an example of a scenario where maybe a client of yours, of course, without talking about, like, without revealing the person's details, but like where there was a breakthrough or a significant advancement when you identified the right root cause?
Yeah, this will be just a minor example, but I think it can relate to a lot of people. I've done so many with large with companies, but I'll take an individual. I had an individual that had been very successful as a business owner and as a professional keynote speaker, meaning that his business was, doing a healthy 6, or in this case, 7 figures, almost 8 figures at the time. And he was doing very, very well. Now, as a speaker, he was also paid very, very well as a keynote speaker. Now, he was an older gentleman, kind of set in his ways. And when he came to me, he wasn't sure how I was going to help him turn speaking into more revenue. So he says, Chris, I'm already a keynote speaker. So how are you going to show me how to generate more revenue through speaking? So I introduced to him another concept of speaking through breakouts, which he said, well, there's no money to be made there. They don't pay very well for breakouts, or sometimes they don't pay at all. And I asked him, I said, how much money are you making on the back end of a keynote, even though you get paid well to do the keynote? And he paused for a minute and thought about it and said, I'm not generating any revenue from it, because keynotes are not designed to generate business on the back end. Breakouts are. So even though he felt breakouts were beneath him at the time, he began to realize that, hey, maybe I should look into this. And he did. And within 6 months, 7 months that we had worked together, he had closed, by speaking at 2 separate shows, 2 $250K consulting projects, 6 to 7 weeks after he did a breakout at an industry conference, something that he had not done in a long time, and now saw the benefit of doing that, where he can now funnel more leads to his team to follow up on and close more sales. So he was able to find a better platform to reduce the number of touch points on his audience's journey to say yes, and thus increased his revenue significantly through that channel. That would be an example.
And what would you say the root cause was? Instead of focusing on how do I generate more money, to find out like the specific mechanism to generate more leads for overall increased income?
Yeah. The root cause to this was that many people, especially older business people that have been in the business world for a while, it's usually because they're set in their ways. They're not usually open to trying new ideas or testing new ideas. And it's the very thing that when you do, those are the things that can open up new doors for opportunity. So the root cause was more of a mindset barrier of like, this is not going to work. I know it works. I know it doesn't work. And we had to break that barrier, especially with baby boomers, even some older Gen X, especially even traditionalists back in the day. These are different generational types that oftentimes might not be open to new ideas. So that's, once we were able to break through that, that's where we saw a significant increase in revenue. And I've done this also with small businesses to small companies with older CEOs, where we've been able to break new levels by opening up their mindset to new ideas and new processes.
So sometimes the root problem is actually our blind spot.
It's our blind spot, and it's our way of thinking. And I can even go deeper than this, but the deeper part of it is it's our own self-limiting beliefs from childhood. They come out each and every day through our communication to ourselves and others. They come out in our behavior. They come out in our attitude and how we look at things if they're happening to us versus for us. One being the victim, one being using as excuses, or seeing the obstacle or challenge as an opportunity, that type of thing. Your emotions and how you respond versus react to situations and other people. And then your level of action. Are you taking massive action on the priorities that truly matter and not being busy and yet not productive? So it oftentimes the root cause often goes down, even down to the individual's own self-limiting beliefs. And as they come together and those self-limiting beliefs are colliding with one another, these are the things that are keeping businesses from not getting to the next level.
I want to talk a little bit about that inner critic. Your book, Master the Inner Critic, is a guide to help you overcome that. There's different stages that you go through. Identify the root cause, the root problem, and the root cause is one of the stages. But first, I want to ask you, from your experience and based on your knowledge, how can someone know if they're being affected by their inner critic?
Well, first of all, the body and the mind will always let you know. So I'll put it this way. See, people can say words and they can say all the things that make it look like everything is going fine, nothing can be going wrong. But the body never lies, the eyes never lie. The feelings are what they are. You can't mask them, even though you might be able to try to fool people on the outside. So oftentimes when there is a level of a consistent amount of worry, stress, anxiety, overwhelmness, feeling like you're not good enough, or I'm not as smart as everyone thinks I am. Now, we all going to have self-doubts at certain parts of our lives. All of us do. I don't care who you are. I don't care how successful you are. But it's when it's more consistent and persistent, those will be the telltale signs that self-limiting beliefs are intervening with your progress in whatever is important to you, whatever that may be.
Who do you think will enjoy your book better? Someone that is just starting out with business coaching, or someone that is already mature in their business and are successful in their business? Or maybe
I would think anybody, because first of all, just because you're successful in business doesn't mean that it's going to continue, or that there's some other part of your life that could be out of alignment or out of harmony with your success at work. Your personal life could be in the toilet. I've seen many people that are successful in terms of on a monetary basis, but the rest of their lives have imploded. So these are the things that where self-limiting beliefs have a grip on people, whether if they know it consciously or not. They're there. We just have to know how to get to the root cause of them, to release them, to now develop better ways of thinking that will get us into a more sustainable way of harmonizing our lives and business for the long haul.
Christopher, as soon as we actually are willing to believe that we have an inner critic problem and that we want to fulfill our full potential and be able to identify that blind spot that inner critic is hiding from us, what would be some of the steps that we might go through by working with you, or by going through your trainings, or even by going through the system in your book?
Well, first, we got to work on the foundation. I have what we call 4 pillars of success. We have a foundation in how we think differently from emotional intelligence. That's getting to the root cause of self-limiting beliefs through self-awareness. And then learning now how to develop a better way of thinking, how we can move away from expectations tied to outcomes, which you experience through fear, because you're in the past and the future, but learning how to be more intentional. Don't lead by expectation. Expectation is always caught up in the control you can't control, and that's other people and situations. But if I focus on what I can control, me, my intentions, more likely by trusting the process, which obviously is there right there, you are going to get to your results. You got to learn to let go of the control you can't control. So it's a different way of thinking, and it allows us to be more assertive in our communication, rather than passive aggressive, more assertive in our behavior rather than passive aggressive, to see it, have an attitude of gratitude, seeing things happening for you, not to you, even when things seem like they're falling apart, it's happening for you. How you respond versus react to situations and the people beyond control, your emotions and your action. Are you focused on the priorities that truly matter and not being busy and not productive? These are the things that when you can build that foundation, you can be prepared, meaning that you have your goals broken down into smaller attainable objectives within your control. Then you are using systems, resources, and processes to execute on them, because execute would be the third thing. And then you measure to see what's working, what's not. So the 4 pillars of success are foundation, preparation, execution, measurement. Repeat.
I love it. For so many reasons. Just one example, they focused on intentions rather than expectations. That leads to activities that you focus on, and your habits and your actions, they matter a lot to fulfill your intentions over the expectations that are out of your control.
Yep. And then you just said it, daily habits, personal, professional. I've had a daily routine now for over 26 years. I do every morning starting at 4 a.m. and do not miss a day.
I love it. I have a question about your business advice and the business direction, which is more like beyond the critic and mastering that, just like based on your experience and your point of view. You talk about your market domination position.
Yes.
And that's something I'm very interested in, because we live in the world these days, especially in the last 2 years with AI and the generation getting younger. And so people consume content completely differently. They look for education completely differently. They build businesses differently. So the generation is changing, the way that people might hear about you change, and so on and so forth. So because of all of that noise, it's so easy to do marketing with some AI tools. It's easy to put a lot of noise out there.
Yeah.
But then if you want to pierce through the bubble and get noticed, you actually need something else. And you call this, in your words, like market domination position. Tell me more about what does that mean to find that?
Well, I mean, let's first define a market dominating position, or you could call it a value proposition. And what that is not what you do and how you help people. Now, a lot of people would say, well, wait a minute, if it's a market dominating position, it doesn't have to be what you do and how you do it to help a business, an industry, or people. No, I mean, there's a place for that. Don't get me wrong. But the value proposition or market dominating position is about your specific target audience. What is the number one challenge overall that your audience has that could be better? Then, what is the biggest results they're looking for overall that they don't have now? When you can have a message that first interrupts their thinking to the challenge that could be better for them, get their attention, that could be on the upper fold of your website, your marketing collateral, your social media profile, whether if you're a solopreneur or if it's a company profile. It could be wherever you are, wherever you're interacting with your audience. So you have to interrupt their thinking with the challenge that could be better, then a statement that will elicit the results they are seeking and don't have, and then you educate them. You say, discover in this video how to turn this challenge into an opportunity to get these results. And the offer, it's not book a call with me, because you haven't even built enough rapport or trust yet for somebody to book a call with you. You're just simply asking for their name and email to download the information. That's it. Now it goes into your CRM. I could follow up a few days later, ask them how the information helped them, steered them in the right direction. If they wanted to provide more specific details, guess what? Then let us know and we'll make sure that we send you information. So now I'm building that rapport and trust, and more likely now they're going to be able to take a call with me at some point. So there's a 4-step process. Interrupt. What is the challenge that could be better? Engage them with the results they seek and don't have. Educate them. And then the offer is simply get their contact information, their name and email, so that you can build further rapport with them So this way you can reduce the number of touch points on the buyer's journey for them to say yes. And oftentimes that can be done anywhere the average is 20 to 100. You can narrow that down to 5 or 12 to convert more.
5 or 12.
Lead gen or SEO, watch your lead gen and SEO really perform at a higher level than you've ever seen before. Most businesses don't know what a market dominating position is. And if they do, it's not accurate because they have not done an audience segmentation analysis. They just assume what their audience is looking for and what's important to them. I see it all the time.
I love it. This is something that really makes me feel warm and fuzzy when you describe it, because it's so spot on with understanding who are your audience, who is your tribe. You have to serve them in a way that they will want to be served.
Well, and this could be right down to personality types. And even when you look at the market dominating position, you can even narrow it down to personality type, multi-generational type, and cultural and ethnic background. Now, does that mean your entire audience will have the same personality type? Of course not. Or the same multi-generational type or the same culture, ethnic backgrounds? No. But if you have a majority of those people that fit a certain area, like for me, I target business owners. So a majority of my audience, not all of them, but a majority of them are going to be type A personalities or Ds dominant on the DISC profile. See, thing about type A personalities and Ds on the DISC profile, they like results, less detail. They like to identify with what-if questions. So if you look at my website in the upper fold, sustainablesuccess.net, you can see my market dominating position message is, what if your business metrics unfolded a narrative of continuous growth? ? That's the interrupt statement. The engage statement is a narrative of compounding revenue and profit fostered through stronger leadership team dynamics and creating a valuable customer experience. That is the results they're seeking. They want more compounding revenue. And I just told them how to do it. Then I educate them, discover in this video how to make the challenge better to get the results they seek. The offer, their name and email. That speaks now to majority of my audience. Now, if I were targeting engineers, project managers, they like a lot of detail. They want results, but you got to share the details to prove that one thing works for them to believe another thing works to another thing to get to the results. They like how questions. So I would start off my market dominating position with the how question. If it was an influencer, like a people-centric type person, they want results too, but they value people first. They want to know who it impacts before they get the results. Whereas Ds and Cs are task-oriented. They care about people, but it's really about the results first, then the people. See, when you can understand that and truly know what the challenge is that could be better for your audience through an audience segmentation analysis, that's going to allow you to come up with the right message, value proposition message that can now align with most of your audience that will make your lead gen and SEO explode to perform much better in reducing the number of touch points on the buyer's journey.
This is such a great class in identifying your audience and identifying your message to them. And that's something that is important for all of us as business coaches. If we just say, yeah, we're business coaches, that's just not enough to get someone to really notice us and want to work with us. I want to ask you, what's working for you now, Christopher Salem, in getting people to engage with you overall? I understand that they go to your website and they sign up, and that by itself is cool. But how do you get enough people to go to your website? What do you actually do on that?
Well, it goes back to where we started with the show with the values. I mean, being disciplined and consistent. I post every day with the help of my team. I speak at leading industry B2B, B2C conferences and companies on a regular basis, always dripping. What is the challenge for that audience that could be better? What are the results they seek? I do this when I speak subconsciously to get in people's heads. Now, as a result of that, that's where I'm driving leads. Leads come from me mostly through speaking at conferences, at companies when I speak. It's being done the same way through the posts that I post on LinkedIn and other social media platforms where applicable. That is through my articles, blogs. It's through the podcasts, radio shows that either where I host or if I'm a guest, my marketing collateral, my email marketing, you name it. That consistency is subconsciously, neurologistically building rapport, then more trust. And when there's trust, as a trusted advisor, you, the trusted advisor, when the challenge is great enough to take action to get the results they seek, who are they going to think about to help them do that? You, versus the one that was just trying to sell them on how they can help you. I don't lead with features and benefits. I lead with the challenge and then with the results. That's what I lead.
I love it. What would be the typical period of time where someone pursues your coaching? What would be the go-to offer from your standpoint?
Yeah, everything is based upon the business, the scope of work, what they're trying to accomplish, that type of thing. But I would say for the most part that people begin to see the ball moving forward within a month or 2 months with me, depending upon, what it is in terms of where they can see things now progressing. Things are moving forward. But as with anything to achieve anything worthwhile, it's a journey, it's a process. And based upon the business, a lot of times I would say that within a year or more, you start to see really great results with that process. So I would just say if I had to sum it all up, if I look at all the types of business sizes I've worked with, individuals, you can start seeing evidence of it within a month. And then after about a year or so is when you start seeing the KPIs reflect in a favorable way.
What would you say, based on your experience, are the type of people that are unqualified to work with you and you tell them, no, I'm sorry, I'm not a good fit for you?
Yeah, well, I always operate from integrity. But if somebody is not willing to do the work, somebody is not willing to do their part, somebody is not open for new ideas and suggestions, then we are not a fit. When people come to me and they're asking me to 100% solve their problem, that is impossible. Nobody can solve your problem outright. A surgeon might be able to remove a tumor, but you're still going to have to do your part in taking care of yourself for it in the long term for it to be successful. So in this case, people have to be willing to do the work, be willing to listen, to be part of the process, and be part of their solution. So for me, if that is not on the table, then we're not a good fit. And if they want to just put a Band-Aid on things and manage the problem, I'm not your guy. I am a solution results-based person. That's all I'm looking to work with for those that are willing to surrender and step up and do what is necessary to achieve what's important to them.
I have a question specifically about that surrender word that you chose. What would you tell a client if they say, okay, so what's my money back guarantee? What's my options on that? So
the money back guarantee is that I put everything in writing. I put the agreement in writing. I put down everything that I'm going to deliver on with my company in terms of what's in my control. What is not in my control is that person or the company overall and situations. So I have to put into writing what they have to bring to the table. Now, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, they can't come back and say, well, this didn't work because, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. There you go. So I can guarantee all the deliverables that I bring to the table that are within my control. I just can't guarantee what happens in a certain industry or the economy, or somebody just doesn't do what they're supposed to do. Those are things that you can't guarantee because you have no control over that. But that is all documented and put into writing. But I do 100% deliver on everything that I can control, that I bring to the table, that is in writing.
Can you control the end result of the client's business growing?
Correct.
Can you control that?
I mean, you can control only, certain things that you can bring to the table. If I show them the process, how to increase revenue and profit in their business by starting with the a value proposition or market dominating position and then implementing other revenue yes, I can control what I bring to the table with that. But if they don't do the things that they have to do their part, I'll give you a prime example. Like when somebody who really is 100% a faith-based person, I'm a faith-based person. But if I sat there and said, I'm waiting for my God to do all these miraculous things for me, and I don't do my part, well, guess what? Nothing's going to change. I might have these opportunities from my trusted source right in front of me, but I'm blind to it because I'm not willing to do my part. So the thing is, it's a two-way street. You've got to be able to do your part for the source to do its part for things to work. And I think when people are looking for everything to be done for them, I'm just going to be, my experience, I've been working for 35 years. I've been on this planet for almost 58 years. There is nothing in this world that can be done by one person for you, or maybe to a certain level that you think so. But if you don't do your part, you're never going to see the full benefit of what was done or to experience what was done without your involvement.
Christopher Salem, where can people go to learn more about your work and to just follow you around and learn more about your system and your knowledge?
Well, I have two websites. My business acceleration strategy website is sustainablesuccess.net. So that's sustainablesuccess, one word.net. My speaker, subject matter expert site is my full name, ChristopherSalem.com. And you can always find me on LinkedIn at Christopher Salem. Love to connect there. And you can use one of my emails, chris@ChristopherSalem.com. Love to connect. And I like to get to know people as priority number one.
We're going to put all those links in the show notes, as well as the link to your book on Amazon. Thank you so much, Christopher Salem, for taking the time to run through these topics with us. I really appreciate your work and your view and your sharpness. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for listening for another episode of Beyond Six Figures.
Thanks for listening to Beyond Six Figures. Check out the extended show notes that include bonus material, practical tips, and exclusive resources on our website, zivraviv.com. Until next time, keep dreaming big and pushing your business and your life beyond six figures.